The US Grand Prix is going to be the most decisive race of the season. Ferrari claims Charles is ready to dominate F1 if given the car, and Franco is in a great position for next silly season. Max Verstappen has recently shared his thoughts about his priorities in the upcoming seasons, emphasizing that he is more focused on helping Red Bull get back to its winning ways rather than contemplating any possible changes in teams for the year 2026. Verstappen has a current contract with Red Bull that lasts until 2028, and it is believed he has exit clauses that could allow him to leave earlier if certain performance criteria are not met. This uncertainty surrounding his future with the team has led to considerable speculation throughout the season, particularly given the internal power struggles and the departure of several key personnel from Red Bull's headquarters in Milton Keynes. Throughout this period, Verstappen has found himself being pursued by other teams, with Mercedes team principal Toto Wolff showing particular interest. This interest intensified when Red Bull began to experience a decline in performance on the racetrack. However, everything changed when Mercedes made a formal commitment to sign young racing sensation Andrea Kimi Antonelli last month, which seemed to narrow down the possibilities for Verstappen to switch teams. In an exclusive interview with Autosport, Verstappen hinted that while there might be renewed prospects to explore team changes in 2026, his primary concern lies in improving the performance of Red Bull Racing. When asked about his feelings regarding having several options for 2026 and beyond, as different teams keep their opportunities open, he responded affirmatively, acknowledging the possibility but making it clear that he is not preoccupied with those thoughts at this moment. He explained that there are plenty of other aspects related to the current season and the team's performance that require his attention. Verstappen stated that he sees no value in overthinking the future right now, emphasizing that he is focused on the present challenges. He also articulated that if a team change does not materialize, it would not significantly impact his life, rather, it would simply be part of the process. Additionally, Aston Martin is another team that may have interest in acquiring Verstappen, especially as they have recently welcomed several significant figures from Red Bull, including head designer Adrian Newey. Red Bull understands the importance of ensuring that Verstappen remains satisfied in order to complete his contract. To do this, they need to provide him with a car that is competitive enough to race at the front of the pack. Helmut Marko, a prominent figure within Red Bull, commented on this situation, noting that most top drivers, including Verstappen, have performance-related exit clauses in their contracts. He explained that if Red Bull fails to deliver a car capable of competing at the highest level, it would indeed prompt Verstappen to consider his future options. Looking ahead, the 2026 season introduces a significant change with new regulations and entirely redesigned cars, coupled with revised power units. This shift represents a unique opportunity for teams to alter the current hierarchy within the sport. Red Bull, in particular, has numerous questions to address regarding its inaugural power units, which are being developed at Red Bull powertrains with assistance from Ford, especially with Honda transitioning to become the works partner for Aston Martin. Despite the uncertainties surrounding the new regulations, Verstappen expressed confidence that Red Bull's performance in 2026 will not be any more unpredictable than that of their competitors. He acknowledged the inherent uncertainty by stating that everyone faces questions and challenges with the new car and engine designs. He reiterated that it remains unclear who has genuinely excelled in their preparations until the season begins, indicating that all teams will be on equal footing as they navigate these changes. Ferrari's driver coach Jacques Clear firmly believes that Charles Leclerc is more than capable of winning a world championship, and that he will achieve this as soon as the team provides him with a competitive car that can perform at that level. Since joining Ferrari in 2019, Leclerc has proven himself to be one of the fastest qualifiers in Formula One. He has managed to secure an impressive total of 26 pole positions throughout his career with the team. However, despite this remarkable record in qualifying, he has only managed to win 7 races to date. This disparity has led to a perception that Leclerc excels much more in qualifying than he does during the actual races. Clear emphasizes that a significant part of Leclerc's time with Ferrari has coincided with the team struggling to optimize their car's performance in race conditions, particularly during the challenging seasons of 2022 and 2023. As such, Clear feels that the reputation Leclerc has developed as a superior qualifier might not be entirely fair, especially not going into the 2024 season. Clear expressed his thoughts on the matter during an interview on the F1 Nation podcast, stating that Leclerc's reputation as a qualifying star has undeniably been established over the years. He shared how, in discussions from 2 or 3 years ago, some people pointed out that Leclerc was not as strong in race situations as he was during qualifying. Clear, however, believes that this assessment doesn't quite capture the true picture, explaining that while it may be accurate to recognize Leclerc's exceptional qualifying abilities, it doesn't diminish his talent in racing. He elaborated that Ferrari has made a conscious effort to enhance their car's performance in races, particularly by improving tire management, which is always a crucial aspect of racing strategies. Clear highlighted instances from Leclerc's career, recalling the 2022 Austrian Grand Prix as a notable example. In that race, while his closest rival Max Verstappen faced considerable challenges with tire degradation, Leclerc displayed his skill by securing a well-deserved victory. Clear reassures that it is not accurate to say that Leclerc has historically struggled with tire management. Rather, the team's overall focus on optimizing tire performance has not been as strong as it could be. This year, however, Clear has observed significant progress. Ferrari has shifted its focus toward improving their car's race performance, with a particular emphasis on maintaining tire integrity during long runs. Additionally, Leclerc has been learning from his past experiences and sharpening his skills related to tire management and racing strategy. This combination of factors has allowed fans and analysts to see a more accurate portrayal of Leclerc as a driver and of Ferrari as a cohesive racing team. Looking ahead, Clear expresses complete confidence that once Ferrari has assembled the right elements to genuinely compete for the World Championship, Leclerc will rise to the occasion and secure the title they have been aiming for during his time with the team. Over the 6 years he has spent with Ferrari, that opportunity has yet to fully materialize. The closest they came was during the 2022 season, when they initially held a solid lead in the standings before being outpaced by Red Bull's development and Max Verstappen, ultimately securing his second consecutive championship. He has what it takes to be a world champion, Clear stated with conviction. He possesses incredible qualifying speed. In my view, he is arguably the best qualifier we have ever seen. It's challenging to measure against legends like Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen. But there's no denying that he stands out among qualifiers in today's world. When everything falls into place, he can execute his race strategy with exceptional skill. Yet, Clear maintains that Leclerc has not yet experienced the perfect circumstances to fully realize his championship potential. Reflecting on the 2022 season, he acknowledged that there were indeed moments when Ferrari could have contested for the title, especially when they found themselves leading the championship by 40 points at one stage. However, Clear pointed out that by the end of that season, Ferrari as a whole was not prepared to clinch the championship, as Red Bull had outdeveloped them significantly in the latter part of the year. While Clear recognizes that there were aspects of the car and team performance that Leclerc found lacking during that season, he insists that these challenges are precisely what need to be addressed collectively in order to achieve championship success. He notes that it's unfair to claim that Mercedes won all those titles solely based on having the best car. They also had the best support and overall package. The same can be said for Verstappen and his successes with Red Bull in the past 3 years. Clear's belief is strong. He reiterates that once Ferrari can consistently deliver a car capable of competing for the championship, something he suspects is on the verge of happening. Charles Leclerc will rise to the occasion and deliver the results that are expected of a world-class driver. After 4 long weeks away from the track, Formula One is making its exciting return with a packed schedule that features 6 races all crammed into just 8 weeks. The racing action kicks off once again with the United States Grand Prix, which takes place at Austin's Circuit of the Americas. This weekend promises to be a crucial one for all the teams in the series as they prepare to unveil their final upgrades for the 2024 season. The race in Austin is viewed widely as the last major opportunity for teams to put new car upgrades into play during the current season. With Austin marking the beginning of a triple header that will also include races in Mexico and Brazil, it offers a strategic advantage for teams looking to introduce new parts. Logistically, it is the simplest venue to roll out these updates, making it a prime location for teams to aim for performance gains. Following this weekend, the circuit will prepare for another intense triple header consisting of races in Las Vegas, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi. As the season draws to a close, some teams may consider bringing in new low downforce components specifically for the unique conditions of the Las Vegas track. However, many teams are likely to stick with the wing specifications they used in previous races at Monza and Baku. By the time the race in Qatar arrives, it may be too late for teams to see a significant return on investment from any major upgrades unless they plan to test new parts for the following 2025 season. As we head into the Austin race, any upgrades that teams have been developing over the past month will finally start to make their appearance. This race presents an opportunity for teams to make one last big effort to improve their standings in the championship. It is important to note that Austin is hosting a sprint weekend, which means teams have less practice time to fine-tune their new updates. However, teams have become more accustomed to the sprint format, so their hesitation to introduce upgrades during these events has diminished compared to previous years. Fred Vasseur, the team principal at Ferrari, weighed in on the situation by saying, "We all know that we already started the development of the next year's car, and we try to do our best to have a small upgrade. I think it will probably be the last one for everybody that applies to us." But also to the other teams. Now it's so tight in the standings over the last 4, 5, or 6 races. If you take a closer look at the grid, it's likely to get even tighter, and every little detail can potentially make a big difference. Red Bull team principal Christian Horner echoed that sentiment, stating, "It's a natural point in the year where all teams will aim to bring something new to Austin. Ferrari has a substantial upgrade. I believe Mercedes and McLaren will also have something new to show." At the current point in the standings, McLaren holds a lead of 41 points and appears poised to maintain its advantage through the remainder of the year, given its performance compared to Red Bull in the latest races. However, Red Bull has shown signs that it may have finally pinpointed the issues that have hindered the development of its RB20. Although Max Verstappen finished a significant 21 seconds behind McLaren's Lando Norris in the Singapore race, he still managed to secure a solid second place, especially considering that Singapore has historically been one of Red Bull's weakest tracks. The flowing design of COTA could provide a clearer indication of whether Red Bull has indeed turned a corner in its development trajectory. This is the second key reason why the upcoming weekend in Austin is so crucial. It serves as a return to more traditional circuits that include high-speed direction changes, which stands in contrast to the recent series of lower downforce tracks like Monza and Baku, as well as the low-speed street circuit seen in Singapore. Therefore, Austin will help paint a clearer picture of how the competitive landscape might look for the remainder of the season, with only the race in November on the Las Vegas Strip standing out as an exception, as it resembles Baku more than it does traditional tracks. Christian Horner commented further on the unique challenges posed by the Austin circuit, saying, "What we're looking to do is build on our understanding and bring a car that is well balanced, inspiring confidence in the driver. The first sector is very high speed. And they have also resurfaced part of the circuit, which adds another level of unpredictability." He added, "It's a sprint weekend, so we need to hit the ground running. However, the whole team has been working incredibly hard to understand the problems we've faced and address them, with hopes of having remedies ready for the car in Austin." While the focus has been primarily on the competition between McLaren and Red Bull, it's important to remember that Ferrari is not out of the race yet, as they currently sit just 34 points behind Red Bull in third place. Nevertheless, the Scuderia faces significant questions as it heads into the weekend. Since the summer break, they have dealt with issues of high speed bouncing on some challenging circuits. The solutions that Ferrari has developed to tackle this significant problem have yet to be tested on the most recent atypical tracks of Monza, Baku, and Singapore. Therefore, the Austin race will serve as a crucial test to see if Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz have the necessary performance tools to compete effectively on COTA's demanding layout. Charles Leclerc expressed his thoughts, saying, "We're seeing the numbers we expected with the new parts on the car. But we still don't have a definitive answer on how close we are to McLaren or Red Bull on a typical track. I believe we've made a step forward. How much of a step? I think we'll find out in Austin." Carlos Sainz also shared his cautious perspective, waiting to see how Ferrari's latest specifications perform on more traditional tracks. He believes that Las Vegas may present Ferrari's best opportunity to achieve another victory this season. "I think each team has at least one more upgrade in the pipeline that they will try to implement before the end of the year, so we could still see some shifts in performance," Sainz commented. However, upgrades don't always lead to improved performance. it doesn't necessarily translate into better lap times, which we have experienced ourselves and seen with other teams like Red Bull and Mercedes, aside from McLaren. He concluded by emphasizing the importance of seeing if the new updates will make a difference in the upcoming races in Austin and Brazil, which are more traditional tracks. Then, I think we have our next big chance at Vegas. And James Vowles does not regret keeping Logan Sargent in the FW46, as long as he did, as he doesn't think Franco Colapinto would have the success he does today if he'd started the season. Although Sargent managed just 1 point scoring result in his debut campaign with Williams, outscored by Alex Albon by 27 points to 1, Williams kept faith with their junior driver into F1 2024. However, it wasn't long before that decision was again being questioned, with Sargent not able to get off the mark in what was proving to be a difficult start to the year for the Grove team. The team was adamant the American was improving until such a time as he wasn't. Vowles explained after dropping him that he had reached the limit of what he's able to achieve, and he felt it would be almost unfair on him to furthermore continue with him. The team called up Formula 2 driver Colapinto to contest the final 9 races of the championship, with pundits questioning whether he was the right choice. He gave an emphatic reply to that, P12 on his debut, before going on to score points in Baku, before finishing P11 in Singapore, where he held up the Red Bull of Sergio Perez for almost 30 laps. It begs the question, does Vowles regret not making the call earlier in the year? It's an interesting question, said the Williams team boss, because in part a lot of what we were doing with him behind the scenes is developing him ready for this opportunity. So Silverstone was one of the first times he got into the car, and he'd made a step clearly from where we were in Abu Dhabi the previous year. He made some steps across the winter. He'd made some steps in Formula 2. If we'd done this at the beginning of the year, I don't think you'd see the Franco you have today. And I think there's quite a bit of preparation that we've been doing in the simulator and otherwise to get him to the region where he is now. In terms of that regret, I mean, deciding to take a driver out is one of the hardest things you can do in my position. And I had to make sure it was abundantly clear it was the right place. For me, at the point where we upgraded the car and we've delivered performance with it, where it can score points, that's the right line in the sand. So from that perspective, I'm content. Franco Colapinto joins a long short list for the F1 2025 Audi seat. Colapinto won't, however, be in the car next season, as Williams have already confirmed Carlos Sainz as Alex Albon's F1 2025 teammate. He has been linked to Audi, but is said to be an outside bet, with Valtteri Bottas and Mick Schumacher leading the running. Vowles, who has said he'll help Colapinto find a seat, if at all possible, says so far what he's seen from the 21-year-old has left him very impressed. He's done an absolutely outstanding job, he said. Just really jumped straight into it, 2 feet first, and has been swimming ever since. But he's doing brilliantly well. And to score points in your second ever Grand Prix, to be a few seconds behind Alex, is extraordinary. We knew he was quick, that's why we put him in the car, but expected him to take more time to get up to speed. In Monza, that was about what I would have hoped for, effectively, but going to a new track that you've never been to before and been on the pace, really, in FP1, and even after an accident, coming straight back onto the pace is a challenge, and he's very good at absorbing all the pressure that's on his shoulders and just delivering. How calm he is under pressure, he said of the 21-year-old's standout quality. There's a huge amount of. It's always hard to describe what happens to these elite athletes when you step up into Formula 1. It's a completely different world, and the pressure mounts exponentially, and he takes it all in his stride. You can hear over the radio, just listen to his voice, he's just incredibly calm and collected, and just wants more information. So it's a sign of a really good individual that's able to cope with what's happening.